right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
A security guard shot on the job at a retirement community. Tonight, what we're learning about the 81-year-old resident accused of pulling the trigger.
Above average temperatures, but for how long? Plus, I'll time out rain and thunderstorm chances.
First tonight, a hero's homecoming.
Rustin touched a lot of lives here in St. James and Rolla, throughout the military community, I'm sure, as well.
A small Missouri town comes out to honor a fallen soldier.
Good evening. I'm Mike Bush. Ann Allred has the night off. Just hours ago, the community of St. James, Missouri lined the streets with flags for Army Chief Warrant Officer Rustin Smith. He was killed in a helicopter accident last month. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barczewski reports on how he's being remembered.
32-year-old Chief Warrant Officer Rustin Smith is a true hometown hero taken too soon.
I've got grandkids that, what's going on, Grandpa? I said, this is why you get to play basketball. This is why you get to run track. This is why you have the freedoms that you do, because of the sacrifices that not only the soldiers themselves, but their families make.
He spent more than half of his life in St. James.
We're a close-knit community. I mean, we look out for each other. I think you see that everywhere in small towns. We've known each other for years.
One of Smith's best friends growing up says the memories he'll cherish the most happened right here at St. James High School.
Many, actually, but basketball specifically. So Rustin was always, we call him country strong. He was always just the strongest guy around, and you couldn't muscle him out of anything. He would always beat you to any ball because he was just so dang strong all the time.
Patrick Lubert says after graduating high school in 2009, they went to Missouri S&T together before Smith joined the Army. He served as a Black Hawk pilot in the 101st Airborne Division with tours in Afghanistan and Germany.
Knowing Rustin and knowing his upbringing, we all knew he would be very successful in that role. He was always the strongest, the brightest, and always was able to put a smile on your face.
He died in a helicopter crash alongside 9 other soldiers during a nighttime training mission near Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
It doesn't actually feel real quite yet, honestly, for myself at least. Whenever I learned about it that day, it was a very hard day.
Lubert was there to welcome Smith home to St. James with a special procession down Jefferson Street.
Condolences to his family and to all of our friends, and that we know how much he meant to us and that we'll never forget him. He'll always be in our memories.
Reporting in St. James, Laura Barczewski, 5 on Your Side.
A visitation will be held Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at St. James Middle School. A memorial service will take place immediately after. Smith will be buried with full military honors at the Missouri Veterans Cemetery at Fort Leonard Wood. Developing tonight, St. Louis police investigating after a woman was hurt during an attempted robbery at South County's Quick Trip. This happened around 5:30 near Rivas Barracks on I-55. Police say a woman was hit by a car. She was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Police have not released a description of the car they're looking for. Developing tonight, we're learning more about an abandoned home that caught fire in the Grove neighborhood today. Firefighters say they're not sure how it got started, but neighbors say they've seen vagrants and suspicious behavior happening there for months. As 5 on Your Side's Brent Solomon joins us live to explain, people who live nearby have their suspicions.
It was only a matter of time. That's what people who live in the area are telling me tonight. More on that in just a moment. But first, I've been speaking with fire investigators who tell me they ran into a couple of challenges when they went to put out the fire.
See for yourself, an abandoned home now destroyed after catching fire on the 4400 block of Norfolk Avenue in the Grove. It started around 10 in the morning. Firefighters weren't able to go in.
The crews were advised that this particular vacant building had a high probability of collapse.
St. Louis Fire Captain Garen Mosby tells me crews were able to put out the fire, but then 4 hours later, another fire at another abandoned home 2 doors down.
We believe that possibly an ember might have drifted down from the first fire and landed on the roof, because we had a small fire in the roof in that vacant building.
They're not so sure what led to it.
A lot of times when it's cold outside, you think a warming fire. It's pretty nice today, but then there's always cooking.
What do you think was happening inside?
We think people were cooking meth in there and probably distributing out of there, and people kept trucking back and forth.
This woman asked we not identify her. She lives close to the scene.
We've seen people coming and going since the wintertime. We've been in contact with city officials and the police and trying to alert people that people are coming in and out. They always seem, high, and they're hanging over dumpsters.
On top of that,
our propane tanks were stolen in the winter, and we found bleach bottles everywhere. So we've kind of been expecting this.
An eyesore for the neighborhood.
That's disappointing and upsetting, especially in a neighborhood that we are seeing grow and we want to see continue to grow and encourage local businesses and a community here. And I wish people would be more responsive when concerned neighbors are reaching out.
Now, no one was hurt in those fires. The cause of the fire has been deemed undetermined. I'm live in St. Louis tonight. Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
New information tonight on a story we brought you as breaking news last night at 10. Tonight, Joseph Moore is charged with 2 counts of murder and armed criminal action for killing his parents inside their home in Hazelwood. Police say Moore shot at an officer when they responded to Woody Court last night. Officers returned gunfire before Moore shot himself. Police say violence is a rare occurrence in this neighborhood.
Well, this incident was a pretty quiet neighborhood, and this was a domestic violence issue. So it wasn't a random violent act. This was everybody knew each other. They were all family members.
Moore remains in serious condition at a local hospital. When he recovers, he will be transferred to jail. Tonight, police are still looking for the man who shot and killed another man in the Jeff Vanderloo neighborhood. Police were patrolling the intersection of Dr. Martin Luther King and Glasgow Avenue Tuesday night when they heard shots fired. That's when they found 33-year-old Patrick James lying in the street. He died at the scene. Police are asking anyone with information about the suspect to call Crime Stoppers. That number, 866-371-TIPS. Tonight, a security guard is recovering 5 days after he was shot on the job at this St. Charles retirement community. The accused gunman, an elderly resident. New tonight, our Robert Townsend digs into court documents which shed some light on why the 81-year-old man allegedly pulled the trigger.
On an ordinary day, the Windsor Estates retirement community in St. Charles looks peaceful. But around 10 Friday night, police went to the senior living campus after gunfire rang out. Officers saw a 22-year-old security guard had been shot. Police arrested 81-year-old Constantino Spadafora, a resident here.
You don't see older adults really injuring or trying to hurt other people.
According to a probable cause statement, the security guard was inspecting a light that had been switched off in the cafeteria. Investigators say the guard turned the light on and made contact with Spadafora, who shot him in his stomach. Police arrested the elderly suspect in his apartment. They also say they found a gun in his residence. We wanted to know, how did Spadafora get his hands on a gun? Plus, how long was it in his possession? No one would say. Police did tell me Friday marked the first time they've been called to investigate a violent crime here at this place.
So I would assume he has a mental illness.
Dr. Jamaica Woody Cooper is a clinical psychologist and program director at Webster University. She says there are key signs of mental illness to look for before someone turns to violence.
So mood changes, personality changes, confusion.
In a statement, Sharon Wooten, the administrator at Windsor Estates, said in part, "We understand that this incident has caused fear and uncertainty in our community, and we want to assure you that we are committed to taking measures to prevent similar incidents from occurring in the future." Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Spadafora is charged with first-degree assault and armed criminal action. He's in jail on a $200,000 cash-only bond. A bill to return control of the St. Louis Police Department to the state is now headed to the Missouri Senate. Today, the Public Safety Committee advanced House Bill 702. It would create a 5-member board made up of the mayor and 4 commissioners appointed by the governor. St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones responded to the bill, said a state takeover of SLMPD would do nothing to make St. Louis safer. Kansas City, the only place in the country with police still under state control, just experienced its 3 most violent years in history. A state takeover just pushes politics into public safety, making police more responsive to Jefferson City-approved bureaucrats than the neighborhoods they serve.
It's happening all over the world. It's not right. You can't even send your kids to make sure they have a good education.
Tonight, there's an investigation into threats of an active shooter made to schools all across Illinois. One of them was Granite City High School. Parents showed up to find police, SWAT teams, and ambulances swarming the school. Many were distraught about the possibility that their child could be hurt.
It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. And I'm sure every parent feels this way. I think about it every morning before I drop my children off.
Police swept the building and did not find a credible threat to the school, and no one was hurt. There were 21 calls of threats reported throughout 19 counties. Police continue to investigate where all the threats came from. Well, some good news tonight about a Tennessee teenager whose life was forever changed during a visit to St. Louis. Janae Edmondson returned to school today. Her family called it her second first day of her senior year. They say she's thankful for all the support and love she's received. Janae, of course, was hit by a car when she was in town for a volleyball tournament, which caused her to lose both of her legs. A GoFundMe page has raised more than $800,000 for Janae, and you can find a link to donate just by texting the word support to 314-425-5355.
How do you know you have an active shooter on the site?
I just watched it on a meeting.
On a team's meeting?
Calls for help. Tonight we're hearing the 911 calls made as a gunman opened fire inside a Louisville bank. Saving is hard to do, especially when you're living paycheck to paycheck.
You know what your income is, you need to know what your expenses are.
Tonight, financial literacy tips to help you make ends meet.
Warm and dry for now, but I'm tracking rain and thunderstorm chances for part of the weekend. I'll let you know when you'll need the umbrella.
Mass shooting inside a Louisville bank. We have to warn you, some of the content you're about to see and hear may be upsetting.
Can you see the person? Are you able to give me a description? I know who it is. He's probably 6 feet tall. He's young, a young male. How do you know the person? He works with us.
That was from one woman who was inside the Old National Bank during the active shooter threat. She was just one of the many callers. 5 people were killed, 8 others injured in Monday's shooting. These 911 calls come a day after Louisville police released new body cam footage of police confronting the shooter. The family of the gunman says their son struggled with depression but had no idea that he was planning an attack. In a statement, they said, quote, "No words can express our sorrow, anguish, and horror at the unthinkable harm our son Connor inflicted on innocent people, their families, and the entire Louisville community." There is a new website for the Missouri Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. The site provides information for anyone who may be experiencing a mental health, suicide, or substance use crisis. You can call, text, or chat with a trained mental health provider. For more information, just visit this story on our website under the As Seen on TV section. With so many people paying taxes or getting a tax refund, many experts use this time to talk about financial literacy. 5 on Your Side's Michelle Lee tells us how we can start fresh with some ways to help us make ends meet.
It's this kind of stuff we needed to learn in school. We can talk about saving and spending in big terms, but let's just take a closer look because savings are dwindling for a lot of us. A new CNBC survey shows that 58% of adults are now living paycheck to paycheck. So let me say that again. Most Americans who were surveyed are living paycheck to paycheck, including a third of people who make 6-figure salaries. So the question is, what can you do? Research shows that people who've had access to financial education like videos, classes, and coaching are more likely to put more money into savings and also feel less overwhelmed by debt. They're also more likely to make progress with their financial goals, though even when workplaces offer this kind of information for free, sometimes the most vulnerable don't always admit that they need the help.
If it's an opt-in, you sometimes miss the people who need this because they're worried that if they take the course or take advantage of what's being offered, that people will judge them for what they don't know.
And another misnomer about financial literacy or even financial planning is that you've got to be rich to have some sort of service. And really, most financial planners will tell you that it's not about how much money you make, it's about what you spend and what you save. And it's really never too late to start.
You need to know what your income is. You need to know what your expenses are. Second, you need to put a budget together so you can identify, not really on the income side, but on the expenses side, what are the expenses that you absolutely have to have? Keep the lights on, gas in the tank, food on the table, right? That's why we need a paycheck.
Jeff Sachs of Sachs Financial says he works with a wide range of folks. You can make a lot of money, but if you're spending it all, it doesn't do any good. He also works with a lot of clients who don't have big incomes, but have saving plans in place, something that's very important as we talk about emergency savings and saving for retirement. And a lot of people don't know that you can talk with the financial planner for free. Sometimes the services are free because planners can make commission off of things like life insurance that you might want to buy. Financial literacy or planning is not designed to be just for the rich. Back to you.
Well, new data tonight shows inflation is cooling to its lowest level in nearly 2 years. That's according to the data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Inflation decreased to 5% year over year in March, down from 6% in February. Grocery prices also decreased 1/3% since last month, with bigger drops on items such as eggs. Investors are now hopeful that the Federal Reserve will discontinue their rate hikes, but expect at least one more next month. Tonight, residents in Richmond, Indiana are out of their homes after multiple fires continue to burn at a former factory site. You can see the fires spewing a dark cloud of black smoke into the air. We're told the fires are fueled by plastic stored at the site. Right now, firefighters are continuing to battle the fire, which could last for several more days. The EPA is also at the scene measuring the air and assessing the level of danger. Well, meteorologist Jim Castillo is in for Scott tonight. He joins us now with the Weather First forecast, which has just been fantastic.
It really has. You know, the high today, Mike, 82, 15 degrees above the average, which is 67, and really only 7 degrees shy of that record, which was 89. So 69 right now. Lambert, hey, really good flying weather all the way through probably Friday. Saturday, it's a little iffy with a shower or thunderstorm chance, and hear more of that coming up. But there's that high today, 82. Started out at 59, and we're going to be in the 50s in St. Louis tonight, but some 40s outside of the city. 89, that record high back in 1971. No rainfall, as you can imagine. High pressure right over and anchored over Kentucky and Tennessee. We're on the backside of that high, and we've had a southwest wind throughout the day. Now it's turning more a little bit southeast, but it's dry. And check the humidity down in the 20% range throughout most of the day. Now, where they're getting gustier wind in this red area here, it's a red flag warning. So critical fire weather up here. If a fire starts, it'll spread very quickly, and the fire behavior will become very erratic. So high extreme fire danger in those areas as we go into tomorrow. For us, 69 degrees right now, south wind at 9 miles an hour, and that humidity remains really low. Enjoy that. And we're not seeing the bugs yet either. So temperatures at the moment in the 60s outside of St. Louis. And then tonight's lows in the 50s in the city, and then 40s in some of the cooler spots outside of the city. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine again, and highs in the lower 80s. Can you believe that? So the Cards are back into town tomorrow, 74 at 7 o'clock, 65 at 10. Beautiful baseball weather. It's almost summer-like, but we don't have that humidity. So Friday's dry also. So a little bit of a cloud cover starts to move our way, but we're staying dry Friday. Saturday, here comes low pressure and a cold front. As it moves through, there's not only a chance of a shower or storm in the morning, but in the afternoon, there could be a strong shower or storm, and then we might actually have some severe weather, so we'll watch for that. Other than that, that blue that comes our way for Sunday, that's that cooler air comes into play here. So 10-day forecast, we cool down only on Sunday at 63, but before that near 80, and that good chance of showers and storms Saturday. As we get into Monday, 70, Tuesday, 73, and we're back in the 70s, Mike, for a good part of next week.
Well, there really is nothing to complain about, Jim.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, Frank is here with sports.
Mike, Jordan Walker does it again. The Blues don't do it again. And Bill Walton came to St. Louis. Those stories next.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
To paraphrase George Costanza, we're back, baby. A double by Nolan Arenado last night, a fine pitching performance by Jack Flaherty today, and then Nolan Gorman does it again in Colorado. Bring on those Pirates. It was a 4-4 game in the 8th when Gorman repeated his heroics from last night. He put the Cardinals up with this opposite field homer. Cards take a 6-4 lead. The only drama left would be up to Jordan Walker, and the rookie delivered again. He ties the major league record set back in 1912 with hits in his first 12 games. Cards win 7-4. Walker said he needed a memory assist from Andrew Kisner before that final at bat.
I had a little nosebleed during the game, so yeah, and then I was a little lightheaded afterwards, so honestly wasn't too focused on it, but then he reminded me, and I was like, oh my God, okay. So it really wasn't my main focus, but definitely kids had my back on that for sure.
It's the final curtain and the final bow for the Blues at home this season. The Stars provided the opposition. The Blues were down 1-0 in the first. Jacob Vrana, who's been terrific, will tie the game with his 11th goal of the season on the power play. Blues down 2-1. Robert Thomas with a gorgeous move for his 18th goal of the year, and we're tied at 2. Then in the second period, the Blues gave up not 1, not 2, but 3 power play goals. These were way too easy. Stars win 5-2, and the Blues were 18, 17, and 6 at Enterprise this year. The season is over tomorrow. Hey, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, Bill Walton, came to the MAC today. He was honored by the U.S. Basketball Writers Association on the 50th anniversary of his practically perfect performance, 21 of 22 from the field, and 44 points in the title game in St. Louis for UCLA over Memphis State. Walton, who will be our Sports Plus guest Sunday night, said John Wooden never scouted an opponent.
In 4 years with him, he mentioned the other team twice. Mentioned them twice. We lost both of those games. Thanks a lot, Coach. Coach was all about us, and he gave his life so that our dreams could come true.
Finally tonight, 30 years ago today, I walked into KSDK for the very first time. My first phone call was to Charlie Spoonhour, and my first 2 stories were on Mike Krzyzewski and Bob Knight, who had come to town. Imagine that, 3 basketball stories right off the bat. Shocking. It's always been my favorite sport. My favorite team is the one with St. Louis in front of it. That's why when knuckleheads like Stan Kroenke bash our city, I go to the body like my favorite boxer, Rocky Balboa. Some people want to be doctors, others want to be lawyers. All I've ever wanted to do is talk sports on TV in St. Louis. I know I'm not particularly good at it, but it's not because of a lack of trying. What surprises me is today, I walked into the building feeling the exact same way I did 30 years ago, fired up. How can I make the Bill Walton interview great? It's like the way I feel about my wife, Monique. The passion has never wavered. Supreme Court Justice Earl Warren once said he read the sports section first because it chronicled man's accomplishments. That's what I like to do. Tell success stories. And with the help of our great photographers and editors, we've done a lot of them. When I first got here, I just wanted to impress my dad. Now it's my kids, although they likely don't watch. So that's my story. It's been an honor to work here. There hasn't been one day in the last 30 years where I haven't thanked the good Lord for this chance. We'll see you tomorrow night at 5, 6, and 10. And we'll begin another 30 years.
Well, congratulations, Frank. We're lucky to have you. Thank you. A popular farm is now open for the season. The fun activities for animal lovers. A popular taco place is coming to Town and Country later this year. Mission Taco Joint announced it will open its newest location at the Clayton Village Shopping Center. It will have colorful mural walls, modern furniture, and include a large event space for private parties. This will be the restaurant's 9th location in the area. Purina Farms kicked off its 2023 season today. The family-friendly destination offers a variety of activities and experiences with domestic and farm animals. Families can see dogs performing tricks and an agility course at the Incredible Dog Arena. There are also cow milking demonstrations Wednesdays through Sundays from 10 a.m. until 1. And Jim has a final check of the weather.
Yeah, great weather for any of that activity. So inside, you want to be outside during the next few days here. We're talking low 80s again tomorrow, close to that Friday. Clouds on the increase, and then a good chance of showers and storms on Saturday. We're watching for the possibility of some strong or severe storms as a cold front makes its way through here late in the afternoon, early evening on Saturday. Then Sunday, it's dry again, but cool and breezy, about 63. As we get into next week, 70 on Monday, but sunshine Tuesday, probably low and mid 70s all the way through Wednesday and Thursday, but a better chance of rain, Mike, as we get into the middle and latter part of next week.
Jim, thanks. And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next. Don't forget to start your day with Today in St. Louis. That begins at 4 a.m. And have a great tomorrow.